So, hi. Some of you may know me. In fact, if I posted this video, you probably do know me. My name is Tolly Abernathy Jones. And in 10 days, it marks 366 days since I have transitioned. That is such a big deal for me. Like, you have no idea how big of a deal that is for me. Because this time last year, I was homeless. I was in a terrible spot, didn't have anything to my name, and was just beginning my transition. I came out to my family, and I decided that I was going to move to Wyoming to transition. Which is, a weird choice on my behalf, but I think in the beginning I wanted to be able to take the time to find myself without my family's influence. And in that year, I have learned so much about myself. And because initially, I officially started transitioning in October 2014. That is the official day I got my letter from my therapist saying, yes, this is a thing. You now have the ability to medically transition. My problem was that I lived in Kentucky. The closest doctor to where I lived was almost 6 hours away. I didn't know how my family had felt about it. A lot of people who were close to me didn't seem overly supportive. And I needed to get away from that. I needed to find a space where I could be myself. So I moved. And it was super hard because moving to Wyoming was the first time I'd ever completely been away from family. And it was super scary. So I moved in with a friend of mine that I knew from college. And I thanked them for allowing me that space, but it wasn't the best space. I basically lived in a closet, and I didn't have a car, and I didn't have a job, and there were all these things that I didn't have, and I wasn't passing nowhere near as well as I am today. But I was hell-bent on, I was never going to, when I first started transitioning, a big thing for me was that I was never going to wear pants again. I can even remember me saying, I'm never wearing pants again. And so a lot of my baby trans clothes when I first started transitioning were these really ugly dresses, and they weren't the cutest things ever. I think for me it was important more to affirm my gender and less that they looked good, because I didn't understand what my body needed and what looked good and what didn't. I was just like, oh, a dress. Yay, let's wear a dress. So I went through that, and then I finally found a doctor that would give me my meds, my hormones, and I also had a job, and I started working at a local major ranch restaurant, which I'm not going to say the name, but you know who you are, and started getting money, and was hell-bent on making sure that I got my pills. I went with my best friend, Liv, to go to my first doctor's appointment, and I got my prescription. And I remember it being really expensive, because at the time, because I had moved, and there was weird things with trying to move and Medicaid, that I no longer had health insurance. And so I had to pay for my first batch of hormones out of my pocket. And I did that for a long time. And for those of you who don't know, hormones are really expensive without Medicaid or health insurance at all. So I was paying probably about $375 a month, on top of paying rent, because I moved out of my friend's house, thinking it was a little closer to work since I walked everywhere, and did all of that. And I struggled for a really long time, because I was working decent hours. I was working somewhere between 30 and 35 hours a week, making probably about $11, $12 an hour. And between that and rent, and trying to save up for a car, and trying to live my life, and buy makeup, and do all these other things that come with transitioning, I struggled. I struggled for a while, and even then, there in the beginning, I struggled with trying to still figure out who I was. Like, for me, a big thing was that I wanted to be seen as a woman, and I wanted to be appreciated as a woman. And I thought that when I first started doing this, that I was transitioning into a woman. But that's the thing about transitioning, is that transitioning isn't about turning yourself into another gender. Transitioning is about finding yourself. It's about loving yourself. It's about figuring out what makes you happy. And that's the thing, is I think that's where not only cis people and trans, I feel like that's where cis people and trans people can like intersect and really appreciate where the other person is, because it's, you put aside all the bullshit. What it's about is about people finding a truth about themselves and taking that moment to say, this is what I want, this is what I need to be happy, and I'm gonna do it. And I can appreciate now what people mean by that bravery, how hard that is to wake up in the morning and say, this is who I am. And whether you beat me or you assault me or you make fun of me, that this is who I am and you can't take that away from me. And I can promise you that in my time in Wyoming, I was assaulted several times. I have been picked on, I have been made fun of, I have been beaten, I have been sexually assaulted, and in all that, I have never ever decided to not be me. I have starved myself to make sure that I got these hormones, because I wasn't going to let anything stand in the way of me being who it is that I want to be. And it's not until now where I look back at this last year, how, to like, it's like when you go climbing and you look and you turn around, you're at a vista, and you turn around, you look, and you see how far you came from where you started, and really appreciating what that means. And it's not been until like the last week that I've really appreciated what people mean by, you're so brave and I'm so proud of you. Because even if you're not transitioning and you're taking hormones, like, being yourself is such a hard thing, because there's so many outside influences. There's people telling you, oh, well, you can't like this thing, or you can't do this thing, or that color is not good, or you can't wear this. And that's not just a trans thing, that's an everybody thing. That's a thing teenagers struggle with. That's a thing that we struggle with as adults, letting outside influences influence who it is that we are. And so for 366 days, I have gained these following truths for myself. I am Black. I know, shocker, right? But for a long time, I really struggled with that. Being okay with the way that my lips look, and the broadness of my nose, and all the things that got carried with that, and really appreciating what it meant to be Black in America. I am a woman. That's something no one can take away from me. When I wake up in the morning and I look at myself in the mirror, I am always a woman. Whether or not someone believes that or not, or they define that as something else, that is up to them. Not to me, because when I determine who I am, I know who I am. I have to live with me every day. I am trans. I don't hide from the fact I am a woman. I am a Black woman, but I am also a Black trans woman. And I love my community. I share in their pain, and I never want them to feel like they should be ashamed of who they are. If they need to hide that and they don't identify with being trans, do you, boo-boo? Don't let me stop you. But I will be there to, show you that it's okay. I'm still here. And I can't say that for every, Black trans woman, but I am here, and I don't plan to hide from that. I'm difficult. I think even before transitioning, I struggled with really appreciating how dramatic and difficult I can be. And I've made my peace with that, and have used that as a thing that I can rally around. I am beautiful. This one is a little bit more difficult because I still struggle with that, but I feel like that affirms me being a woman, is always feeling like I'm physically not enough, and that the hormones aren't doing anything, and that I'm just fooling myself into thinking this or that, and it's not the case. And just every morning reminding myself that I'm beautiful and that I have value and that my body is gorgeous and that it's been through so much and that I need to appreciate it for what it is. I have learned what real friendship is. When I first started transitioning, I lost so many friends. I lost people that I loved and thought that when I started doing this journey that they would have my back and that they would be with me through this whole struggle. And I've learned, the value of friendship and what that means. I have cried and learned that it is okay to cry. I have learned that it is okay to fall. I have learned so many things that make me who I am today. I love that people are terrible to me and that there's some days where it affects me and there's some days where it doesn't. But whether it does or it doesn't, the one thing I always take away from that is that I still am me. I mean, to really appreciate that is that every morning I wake up and I don't question that anymore. I don't feel shame about who I am anymore. I love who I am, and I can never in a million years thank everybody who has been with me through a lot of these things. All the love and all the support you have given me, all the things that you all have done for me, the rides to work, the places to stay, the food in my belly, inviting me into your home to be a part of your families, even though my family's so far away and I miss and love them. Just being my friend and giving me a support system and making me feel like I am worth something. The hormones, what are you gonna do? But I just wanted to take this moment to say that it has been 366 days. That is 1 year of me medically transitioning. And though the hormones helped, you all helped so much more. So from the bottom of my heart,